frame. Zoomed in, clear as day. His face, his eyes, a quiet little smirk. That was it. Proof mom couldn't ignore. I showed her the next morning. She watched it in silence, face pale, jaw tight. Then she whispered, "What do we do?" I looked at her and said the one thing I'd been waiting to say for weeks. We destroy him. I didn't go to the police. Not yet. Rick hadn't technically done anything illegal. Creepy? Absolutely. But no threats, no breaking and entering, no contact. If I showed them the footage, they'd tell me to keep an eye on it and contact us if anything escalates. I didn't want to wait for escalation, so I decided to escalate it myself. The plan had 3 parts. 1, make Rick comfortable again. 2, catch him in the act. 3rd, turn his life into ash. We started with the illusion of normal. I told Mom and Jenna to act like nothing happened. Jenna reopened her blinds. Mom waved when she saw Rick outside. I even stopped glaring at him when we crossed paths. It worked. Within a week, Rick was back to his old habits. Watching, hovering, smiling that fake smile with dead eyes. I moved the cameras, installed another one inside a birdhouse pointing at a sidewalk. I bought a second encrypted drive. This time, I backed everything up to an offline laptop hidden in my closet. Then I baited him. I posted fake social media accounts under Jenna's name. Not public, just enough to show up in neighborhood searches. Nothing inappropriate, just her art, selfies, posts about school. The kind of thing someone like Rick would sniff out and watch from the shadows. And sure enough, he did. Within 3 days, the account had 1 follower, an anonymous profile. No name, just a cartoon dog as the avatar. But I traced it. It was him. He had liked every photo, saved them too. And then I got lucky. Rick made a mistake. One night, the motion camera caught him again. Not on our property, but close, too close. He was standing behind the fence in our backyard, watching through the kitchen window. What he didn't know, I'd set up a sensor alarm, silent, just a ping on my phone every time it detected movement in that area. I caught him live, grabbed my phone, hit record, filmed the footage from the screen as he stood there, breathing heavy, staring like he was trying to memorize every detail. I had him now, but this wasn't about scaring him off anymore. It was about making sure he never tried this with anyone else again. He wanted to ruin Jenna's peace. I was going to ruin his life. You'd be amazed what you can dig up with a little time, a burner laptop, and 0 moral restraint. Rick had a past, no convictions. He was too careful for that. But incidents, yeah. 3 restraining orders in 2 different counties. 1 from a coworker, 1 from a neighbor in another state, and 1 from a woman who never filed charges but left a 3-paragraph review on a long deleted forum about a man who stares at your daughter too long. I took screenshots, archived everything. Then I dug deeper. Rick owned his house, paid off, no family listed in the area. His employment, freelance contractor, which meant unregulated access to homes, especially if you're just doing a quick quote. I built a file, labeled it Rick Harrison, potential predator profile. Inside, screenshots of restraining order listings, video clips from my cameras, evidence of him stalking Jenna online, timeline of appearances at our house, that sketch drawing he returned, photographed and sealed in a bag. I didn't go to the police. I went to his reputation. First step, an anonymous tip to the neighborhood Facebook group. Not accusations, just concern. Has anyone else seen this man around their kids late at night? Attached were blurry stills of Rick near the sidewalk. No context, just time-stamped photos with the question, should we be worried? The post exploded. Comments poured in. People didn't say they saw anything themselves, but they'd always had a weird feeling. A few mentioned odd conversations. Someone said Rick offered to help their daughter fix her bike when she didn't ask. Then someone, I don't know who, shared the post to the local parent group. Now it was wildfire. Rick had no idea, but by the end of the week, he was the talk of every pickup line at every school within 5 miles. I watched from the porch as he walked outside and saw 3 moms cross the street to avoid him. He looked confused and angry and scared. Good, because the storm hadn't even started yet. Rick started noticing the shift. He stopped waving at neighbors, kept his head down when walking to his car. He put up security cameras, 2 of them pointing at his front lawn. That's when I knew he was panicking. But this wasn't about cameras anymore. It was about the walls closing in. I kept feeding the machine. Anonymous tips, rumors seeded carefully. Never direct, never traceable. I posted in a community forum for parents. Just found out a neighbor was asking kids personal questions near the trail. Stay alert. No names, no house number, but people connected the dots. They always do. A week later, Rick's name came up on Nextdoor. Someone asked if a guy with a silver SUV had a criminal record. Another user said they were checking with a friend who works at the county office. That was me, posing as 2 separate accounts. Then the flyer showed up. Not from me. That's the best part. Someone printed a sheet with Rick's photo, circled his house on a neighborhood map, and added, "Warning, watch your kids." Stapled it to the community board near the grocery store. I took a picture, sent it to myself from an anonymous number, then forwarded it to Rick with no message. 30 minutes later, I saw him tearing it down with shaking hands, and then he finally cracked. The next day, Rick went door to door, knocked, apologized, said he